The Raptors take on the Nets, 1:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off in the bubble. Raptors up 2-0 in this series. The Raptors are also the 11-point favorite in this matchup here. Total's 220 flat. The Nets are plus 550 for an upset win on the money line. And if you like Brooklyn plus 11, they're minus $1.10 to cover. I'm 2-0. My last two daily best plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. I'm also hitting at 71% my last 7 picks in that same package. For more information on how you can access these exclusive premium selections for just $1.99, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, the Nets have lost their last 3 straight games, along with 4 out of their last 7. And as a matter of fact, Brooklyn gave up 130 points per contest on average in those 4 losses. The Nets have won just 39% of their games away from home this season. They were also victorious in just 16 out of 40 when catching plus money. Brooklyn is in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. They've also lost 8 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Toronto. And speaking of the Raps, they've won their last 6 straight, and they held their opponents to just 107 points per contest during that span. They also won 13 out of their last 14 ball games, and they've won 83% of their games when favored this season. Toronto's in the top 5 in shooting the 3 ball, top 10 in free throw percentage. They're also giving up just 106 points per contest on average for the entire season. They're also holding their opponents to just 42% from the field. Freddie VanVleet's averaging 27 a night in the playoffs, 4 rebounds, 11 assists. Kyle Lowry's also averaged 19 a game in the postseason, 8 boards and 5 dishes for him. And Pascal Siakam scored 19 a game along with 9 boards and 2 assists in this very series. Toronto has won 75% of their games away from home this season. They're also in the top 10 in shooting the 3 ball away from home, top 3 in points allowed away from home as well. Now, total-wise, just 2 out of Toronto's last 7 stayed under the total of 220. Meanwhile, 5 out of Brooklyn's last 8 ball games got over the posted total themselves. So with all that said and done, give me the Raptors minus 11 and the over 220 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for Friday's NBA playoff basketball action. Happy Friday to you guys. The weekend is finally here. You made it. All right, before we go ahead and dive into some more free content right here on YouTube, I just have to quickly remind you once again that we are 2-0 in our last 2 daily best play package plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. We're also hitting at 71% in our last 7 daily best plays on that site as well. If you want some more information on how you can join in on the action, a link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And moving on, we're going to take a look at Denver taking on Utah, 4 p.m. Eastern start time. Series knotted up at 1 game apiece. Now, the Nuggets are the 1.5-point favorite. Total's 219 flat. The Jazz are catching even money for an outright win. And if you like Utah catching the 1.5, they're minus 110 to cover. And despite tying this one up at 1 game apiece, the Jazz have won just 3 out of their last 9. And they are clearly showing signs that they miss Bogdan Bogdanovic in the lineup. The Jazz covered the number in just 45% of their games this season, and they won just 9 out of 20 contests when catching plus money. Certainly not doing a great job when they're not expected to win. Now, Davis is out. Conley is questionable. The Jazz are in the bottom half of the league in scoring on average per game, and they've won just 4 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Nuggets. One more thing to add about this Utah team, they've actually failed to cover the point spread in 7 out of their last 8 against the Northwest Division. And speaking of which, the Nuggets, who are in the Northwest Division, they were victorious in nearly 72% of their games when laying the juice this season, really doing a good job when they're expected to win. They also rank in the top 5 in offensive field goal percentage, top 5 in defensive rebounding. Nikola Jokic is averaging 29 a game during the series, 11 boards, 5 assists. Jamal Murray is also scoring 25 a night during the playoffs, 4 rebounds, 7 assists for him. And Michael Porter Jr., MPJ, he's cashing in on 21 points per contest along with 7 boards during this first round playoff series. The Nuggets went 80% against the spread in their last 5 head-to-heads with Utah. They're also in the top 3 in shooting the 3-ball away from home. Top 3 in foul shooting away from home as well. Now, total-wise, Denver's last 10 straight all got over the total of 219. Meanwhile, the Jazz on the other side went 7-1 to the over in their last 8 themselves. 88% of Utah's last 8 conference games got over the number as well. Give me the Nuggets -1.5 and the over 219 in that contest. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Celtics-Sixers, 6:30 p.m. Eastern showdown. Boston up 2-0 in the series already. The Celtics are the 5.5-point favorite. Total's 218 flat. The Sixers are +180 for some money line cash. And if you like them to cover, they're -110, getting the job done against the number. Now, Robinson's still out for the Sixers. Simmons out for the season. Philly's lost 5 out of their last 6. And they gave up over 123 points in 4 out of those 6 ball games. Philly's winning just 30% of their games away from the Wells Fargo Center. They also covered the number in just 27% of their games away from their home court as well. Really just not getting the job done away from Philly. Now, the Sixers are just 30% against the spread in their last 10, and they rank in the bottom 10 in free throw percentage. Philly's failed to cover the number in 7 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Boston, and they find themselves winning just 20% of their games as the underdog. So when they're expected to lose, they indeed lose. Boston, on the other side, has won 13 out of their last 19 head-to-head meetings with Philadelphia, 74% against the spread in those contests. The Celtics have won 6 out of their last 7 straight up, and they held their opponents to just 105 points per contest on average during that span. Jason Tatum scoring 33 a game during this very series, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks for him. Jaylen Brown's also averaging 25 points per game in the playoffs, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. And Kemba Walker's dropping 21 a game during the postseason himself, 4 assists to go along with that. The Celtics have covered 6 out of their last 9 ball games, and they win 77% of their games when laying the juice. When they're supposed to win, they get the job done. They're also in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 5 in defensive field goal percentage. This Boston club has given up just 107 points per contest for the entire season. Now, total-wise, just 2 out of Boston's last 11 stayed under the total of 218. And as a matter of fact, the Celtics officially went 80% to the over in their last 10 ball games. Meanwhile, the Sixers on the other side went 12-4 to the over in their last 16 themselves. The Sixers also saw 4 out of their last 5 versus the Atlantic Division get over the number as well. Give me the Celtics -5.5 and the over 218 in that contest. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it's going to be Clippers-Mavs, 9 p.m. Eastern tip-off. This series knotted up at 1 apiece. The Clippers are the 6-point favorite, totals 231 and a hook. The Mavs are +190 for an outright win. And if you like them plus the 6, they're catching even money to cover the point spread. Now, the Mavs put up 127 points on the Clippers in Game 2 to get the job done and tie this one up at 1 game apiece. The Mavs scored 37 points in the third quarter alone to kind of catapult themselves to a 13-point victory over the Clippers in that game. The Mavs have done a real superb job this season in covering the number away from home. Dallas has covered 64% of their games away from the friendly confines. They're also in the top 3 in scoring on average per game, top 5 in offensive rebounding. Now we're looking at a Dallas Mavericks club who's scoring 117 points per contest on average for the entire season. These guys certainly can light up the scoreboard. Now, Luka Doncic averaged 35 points a game between games 1 and 2 of this series, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals. Kristaps Porzingis is also scoring 19 a game in the postseason, 7 rebounds alongside of that. And Tim Hardaway Jr. averaged 18 a game, 4 rebounds, and a couple assists in this series as well. The Mavericks are in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball. They're also in the top 10 in offensive 3-point percentage as well. They're taking on a Clippers team who may have to go to work tonight without Patrick Beverley. He's really banged up. He's actually been downgraded to doubtful for tonight's action. The Los Angeles Clippers also rank in the bottom half of the league in defensive rebounding on average per game, believe it or not. I know that seems improbable, but it is absolutely true. Now, total-wise, 6 out of LA's last 8 got over the total of 231.5. Meanwhile, 5 out of the Mavs' last 7 got over the posted total themselves. The Mavericks also went nearly 60% to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward an underdog here. Give me the Dallas Mavericks +6, keeping this one close, and the over 231.5 in that game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you decide to sign up for a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.